Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at some r/Am I the Butthole? And it seems we have some interesting stories today. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, first post. Am I the butthole for taunting my ex's widow after she lost her court case for visitations with my son? Interesting title, my goodness. The father of my son, 4, left me for someone else when I, 25F, was 6 months pregnant. Ex and this woman, Mavis, married when my son was 3 weeks old, roughly. They demanded that she comes to his visits with our son and I refused. My reason? They said he needed to get to know his mum as well as his dad, and she was definitely his mum now. Yeah, I would have refused as well. What in the hell? They were married and everything, and yeah, that's how they argued it. What the friggin' hell? Oh my goodness. I never stopped him from seeing our son, but I didn't allow her anywhere near my home, and our son was 10 months old before X could take him out for visitation. Then I could do nothing about her being there, but at least she wasn't calling herself my son's mum in my home. She did join my ex every time he dropped our son home with me, and she would try to start a fight because I wouldn't let her hold him to say goodbye. Once X handed our son to me, she sounds absolutely insane. She'd get mad I would refuse to let her spend time alone with our son too. X was awarded every other weekend visitation when our son was 18 months old. He lost that visitation when our son was 2 because his wife tried to take our son out of daycare without permission and the cops had to be called. She is nuts. He went back to visits at my house and she was not allowed near my house or my son. That softened after a few more months. She had to issue an apology and take some classes, and then every other weekend started. Then my ex died last year. My son was with me at the time, so there was no fight to get him back or her trying to run with him or anything. I could imagine she might have done that actually. Do you know what? That's a scary thought. And I think she'd have tried to keep my son if X died during his visitation weekends. Mavis then tried to sue me for shared custody as his other parent. Mavis, come on now. That case was thrown out because she was not a legal parent and had no parental rights to my son. Instead, she tried to sue for visitation, and unfortunately that went to court. It took a few months and we had 2 dates before the judge in order to get a ruling. She was denied visitation. It was decided she had not played a big enough role in my son's life and she wasn't his family anymore. I was relieved. Mavis was screaming about appeals as we left the court. Mavis is crazy. She tried to confront me a week after court and I was feeling so done with her crap, and I taunted her and told her that she would never be in my son's life again and to go herself because she's all alone now, and with the way that she acts it didn't surprise me. She started screaming after me, but I kept going. It was only afterwards that I wondered if it was unfair because she did lose my ex and she might have felt some genuine care for my son. I don't know. I think she's just unhinged, but maybe I was still an a-hole? Am I the butthole? No. It's such a weird thing. So weird. And I feel like she was doing it all just to get at you, which is really weird. Either that or she genuinely is unhinged. Either way, best that she's gone, really, isn't it? And after they made your life hell for so long, and then she dragged you through the courts when she has literally no parental rights whatsoever, and she would have known that. Was it nice? No. So, down in the comments, Caspian4136 says, not the butthole. If she keeps contacting you, keep track of everything for a paper trail, as you may need to get a restraining order against her. Yeah, I was going to say, this is very stalkery behaviour, and I would genuinely be worried about her trying to, kidnap your kid. Also, double and triple check that daycare and or schools know that she is not allowed to take him. They probably already know this, but it sounds like she may try regardless. Yeah, have a password put in place for anyone picking up the kid. Hopefully, your little man is doing alright after losing his father. Yeah, see, that's the sad part in this, which is getting completely overlooked because of Mavis's ridiculous behaviour. And then K Kiro says, adding to this, don't block her yet if you haven't already. OP, mute her, but let her text you. Don't answer her calls. Yeah, that's it. Give them the rope that they use to tie themselves up with, because she will. It'll give you ammo you may need for future restraining orders. I don't know if you're maintaining contact with the father's family or not, but if he visits them, with or without you, make it clear that she is not to be near him after her little kidnapping attempt. Document everything as if you were handing it over to the police, both historical and as stuff comes. Times, dates, facts, and witnesses. Hopefully, you'll never need to use it. A thought just occurred to me, you know. I'm just going to nip back to the start of this post. Father of my son left me for someone else when I was 25, was 6 months pregnant. I wonder if OP was always like the woman on the side, and that's why Mavis is acting so frigging crazy. Like, maybe Mavis was like his wife all along, or his girlfriend all along. OP was like a bit on the side, and so for some reason Mavis then seemed to think that that meant that she has as much entitlement to the kid. I don't know, I'm just trying to figure out why someone would think that. Like, it's so weird. Next post, am I the butthole for punching my stepdad after he just grabbed my butt? I beg your finest pardon. So, I, 15M, have divorced parents because my mum cheated on my dad when I was around 10 with the man who is now my stepdad, which obviously already made me resent him. I have 2 step-siblings, 1 half-brother because of it too, who I'm close with. So, yesterday, I took a shower since it was a hot day and I came back from MMA practice, and my stepdad just grabbed my butt, not a brush, not some slip-up, straight up grabbed and squeezed my butt. So I punched him. Yes. Why would you do that to someone who has literally just got back from MMA practice? They know how to swing, mate. What are you doing? Which resulted in him breaking his nose. I never wanted that. It was just a response to someone grabbing my damn butt. My mum knows why and is mad at me and tells me that I should lighten up since we're both men and that's normal. No, that's not. Even my siblings are on my side and called him disgusting and refused to visit him in the ER. Yeah, no, why is your mum sticking up for a pedo? That is just disgusting. I admit punching him was wrong, but it was just a reflex since it's not the first time he was inappropriate. If I could, I wouldn't, even if he deserved it. So, am I the butthole for breaking his nose on accident in response to him grabbing my butt? No, absolutely not. Sorry. No, he's disgusting and he needs to be on a register. Like, why on earth would he ever think it's okay to touch a child that way? What is wrong with him? Edit, thanks already for the advice and kind words. I haven't thought about a police report, to be honest, but I'm going to make one as soon as possible. Yes, please do. Please do. And call a friend to stay with for a few days. Yeah, because who knows what else he's going to do to, like, the siblings as well. If that's what he's done to you, then clearly he's very comfortable doing creepy shit. So down in the comments, the roadkill Rapunzel says, flawless execution. No notes, 10 out of 10. Not the butthole. Maybe if someone had punched him earlier, he would have figured out that normal people keep them hands to themselves. If he tries it again, please report it after you repeat your previous response. If he tries to a second time, he wants to groom you and he isn't being subtle. Exactly. Please don't ban me, 82. Why? What have you done? What have you done? Naughty. Says, probably won't try again since the first time resulted in a broken nose. You should inform him that if he touches your siblings, he'll meet a similar fate. Next post, am I the butthole for announcing my sister's pregnancy after finding out my boyfriend, now ex, is the father? Flippin' heck. I, 19F, was with my ex-boyfriend 19M until a couple of weeks ago when I found out that he got my sister, 18F, pregnant. I heard them talking about it and my sister was freaking out over it because she knew I would be done with her if I found out and my ex didn't care. So, I held it all in and waited until we were with all our family and announced the news to everyone there. My boyfriend ran once he realised I was going to break up with him, and what a little fanny, and my sister freaked out and broke down and started begging me not to hate her and saying that she made a mistake and she would abort the pregnancy and we could go back to the way we were. She had been living with me since April because her and our parents were not getting along. Oh, she really screwed herself over, didn't she then? We were supposed to be moving somewhere bigger in a few weeks, and I told her that that was not happening anymore, and since that day, I've been staying at my friend's place. Now, she can't afford to live in the apartment without me, and I refuse to live with her again or have a relationship with her, and my parents won't let her move back in either. My ex is gone and he's refusing to have anything to do with the mess he is equally responsible for, and so she's on her own. Oh no. Hold on, I'm just going to look for my tiny violin. Where is my tiny violin? Oh, I can't find it. Got it. It would have been perfect for this moment. I'm not sure where she's staying, but one of our aunts told me I was disgusting to do that to someone as young as her, and I've ruined her life. She ruined her own life. I told my aunt to pick up the pieces and leave me alone because I don't care anymore. I said that she had it coming when she started sleeping with my ex. My aunt said that letting a guy come between us was nasty business. No, sleeping with your sister's boyfriend is nasty business. And she asked me if I could live with myself if she ends up having the baby and they end up on the streets. I told her it's nothing to do with me. Am I the butthole? Obviously not. Clearly not. Like, the aunt can deal with her if she's so concerned. Let her move in with her. Honestly, it sounds like the OP's sister has a short, sharp shock coming her way when she realises that she's not the centre of the universe, and oh no, now she's got to deal with the consequences of her actions. Goody. So, K Mathematician 583 says in the comments, I don't think people realise how brutal it is to be cheated on with a sibling. She ruined her own life the second she decided to sleep with your boyfriend and tried to hide it. She knew exactly what she was doing and chose to gamble with your trust. You don't owe her a roof or forgiveness or a relationship. And then the OP says, people really don't get it as much as they should. Anyone with siblings should put themselves in the shoes of the person cheated on and see if they'd still love and care about their sibling. And then Brainless Bob says, not the butthole. Is your aunt taking in your sister? If she's not, she's the butthole for not practicing what she preaches. And you weren't the one who let the guy between you and your sister. Your sister is. Exactly. Next post, am I the butthole for telling my sister that her boundary will destroy her relationship with her nephew? We seem to have a lot of family members playing up today. Is there something in the water? So, I30F recently got married and had a baby. My sister, 24, does not like my husband and will not tell me why. When I first brought him home to introduce to everyone, she was a bit standoffish, but in general, she doesn't really like people, very few friends, never brings anyone home to meet the family, and has never wanted to spend time with anyone I brought home. Before my husband and I got married, I asked her if she had any issues with him. She said no, and that he seemed nice. I asked her to be my maid of honour and thought all was well. Fast forward to last week, my husband goes to drop something off at the family home, sister lives with my parents, and came back looking shaken. I asked him what had happened, and he said he knocked and went into the kitchen and my sister told him my parents weren't home. He said he had tried to give her the stuff I had asked him to drop off and she told him to put it in the garage. It was food, even though they were in the kitchen. He said as he was picking the stuff up to go, he tried making small talk, commenting about the weather, and she snapped at him, saying, "Don't f***ing talk to her," and stormed out of the room. She sounds delightful. My husband has never given me reason to worry about him being inappropriate or anything, but that was where my mind went first. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of Redditors' minds are going to go there as well. And to be fair, I thought that at first when she was like, oh, she brought her husband home when she first brought him home and she was standoffish with him and blah, blah, blah. But because the husband came home straight away and was like, your sister just did this thing and I'm really weirded out by it, I feel like he is just as in the dark about what the sister's problem is. So yeah, because like if he was in the wrong and he'd done something to incite such a reaction from the sister, he's obviously not going to go straight home to his wife and be like, something really weird happened and I'm quite concerned. We live near them and he had been gone for less than 5 minutes. I called my sister to ask her what happened and she hung up on me. Messaged her and she ignored me until this morning when I bombarded her phone with messages because I wanted to resolve whatever was going on. Why don't you just go down to the house if you live 5 minutes away? She finally replied and basically said that she hates him. has always hated him, and her only boundary is that he never talks to her. In the 7 years we've been together, they've spoken maybe 5 times, and that was mostly him greeting her. I asked her why, and she said she doesn't need a reason. She just doesn't like him and doesn't want him around. I asked her point blank if he had done or said something to make her feel like that, and she said he didn't do anything, and she said she doesn't need a reason to feel how she does. Maybe she just doesn't like that she isn't the centre of attention, perhaps, and that she's living at home with your parents, whereas you've got a husband, a house, you are progressing in life, and she seems a bit stuck. Maybe that's it. Maybe she's just a bit of a twat. That is also possible. Now, my family is very close. My other sibling, brother, 29, and I sometimes drop by unannounced to help my mum cook dinner or just hang out. My parents encourage this as they say they like having us around. I told her it's going to be weird if he can't even just greet her when we come over. She said that she was sick of me having a stranger in her home. They've been together for 7 years, mate. What are you on about? I told her I didn't realise she felt that way about him and said I wouldn't ask him to drop stuff off without me being around anymore. Mind you, she's had 7 years to get to know him, and I didn't realise she still considered him a stranger. Yeah, and that's the other thing. He's tried to talk to her, and she's just basically blanked him and made it impossible to get to know her. She then said that that was not the point, that she didn't want him talking to her at all, and that was the boundary that she wanted respected. I told her that I would tell him and try to keep them apart, but that would mean her time with my son, her nephew, 6 months, would be affected, because my husband will not be comfortable with our son being around someone who hates him. Frankly, I'm now uncomfortable with it too, because I don't know what ideas she will try to put in his head. It's also going to affect my parents' time with him, because if my husband can't bring him around, it's just going to affect the amount of time he goes over there. I didn't tell her, but that hurts my heart because they absolutely adore my son. He's their first and only grandchild so far, and they love spending time with him, always telling us to bring him over. Well, then in that case, I'd be like, so my boundary from now on is you're not allowed to talk to me or my son when I come over. She wants to play the game, two can play it, you know? She said I was playing the victim, painting her as a bitch, and trying to trample the only boundary that she has set for herself. I'm currently thoroughly lost and trying to figure out the best way forward. Am I the butthole here? And is there any way I can fix this situation? Edit. I never expected so many replies in such a short time, but I appreciate the responses. To clarify a few things and answer some questions. 1. I've mentioned it to my parents and they're aware of what happened. My mum said that she'll sit my sister down for a conversation, but from what I hear, my sister keeps making reasons to avoid it. Busy, tired, wanting more time, etc. My dad says not to worry about it and it will blow over. My dad had a heart attack recently and is currently recovering, so I don't want to push it with them right now and stress him out, so I left it at that with him and changed the subject. My partner is amazing and has never given me reason to worry about him being around any females. I admit I was worried he had done something when he told me how she responded, because I can't wrap my brain around why she would blow up over just small talk, but she herself said he didn't do anything. 3. I know my brother has had partners, but he hasn't brought any home. I myself didn't bring anyone home until I was serious about them and thought there might be a future. Brought home a grand total of 2 guys, current partner and my ex from college. 4. Regarding her mental health, she has always had a bad temper, has snapped at me many times with no apology, even when she realised later she was wrong, e.g. accused me of taking her shoes which she had actually just left in the vehicle. There has never been anything on this level before. Yeah, it's so odd, so very odd. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Because to me, the way the husband's reacted to all of this does not scream someone who is guilty at all. Because he's kind of gone, okay, fair enough, I won't talk to you again, sorry. And also, what the hell and where has this come from? You know? His reaction seems pretty genuine from the way that the OP has told it. Obviously, we can never know 100% because this is all written over text. And, you know, it's pretty impossible to tell. But yeah, it's just very weird. I just feel like she's a mixture of entitled and jealous. So down in the comments, Sufficient Ad 6051 says, "This is very weird. You should speak with your mum and other brother, see if sister has disclosed reasoning or if she is otherwise being paranoid." And then OK Introduction 9466 says, "It reads like jealousy to me, to be honest." Yeah, exactly. I'm glad someone agrees. Maybe she feels he's taken her away from the family, but if he's done nothing to her and she won't give a reason, if I were OP, I'd go low or no contact with the sister. Family events, baby showers, parties, etc., everyone would be invited except her. You don't want to talk to my husband and we can't resolve this? Fine. Lol, you're on your own. I don't entertain childishness like this. And then Blazing Sunflower Land says, "This is what I do. Invite the family for Thanksgiving and Christmas, except for sister, since she wants nothing to do with the husband. Oh well, it is what she wants." Honestly, I just think it's crazy how she's sitting there going, "It's my boundary." Like, I do think the internet has kind of bastardized the idea of boundaries, and it's getting to a point where people are setting boundaries that are just so unreasonable. Because how can you say, "I don't want to even talk to this person. I don't want to talk to them at all"? You know, when you know there's going to have to be family settings, you want to see your nephew, but you don't want to talk to their dad. You have to compromise a little bit. It's fine to have a boundary and say, "Look, I don't want to be in the room alone with this person because I don't like them. I am not going to reach out and make an effort with them. I'll be pleasant if we have to see each other, but my boundary is that I will not go above that." That is a reasonable boundary. But yeah, like I say, I think the internet and entitlement and jealousy probably has this person thinking that a boundary means that they can just say any wild shite and demand anything and say, "It's my boundary." No, that's not how boundaries work. Like, healthy boundaries are also reasonable, you know? Especially when the husband seemingly has done nothing. The sister has literally said he's done nothing, she just doesn't like him. It's just so odd. So odd. But no, I do think personally it's jealousy. I genuinely think that it's entitlement and jealousy. And yeah, it's so silly that she then turns around to the OP and says, "You're crying victim." Like, mate, what do you mean? Editing me here if you're wondering why the microphone sounds a little bit different. I cannot be bothered to get the whole big microphone out again. But basically, I'm editing, and this last comment, for some reason, you can't really hear me. I don't know what I did, so I'm going to read it again. So, Lollipop Guildmaster says, "It's also not a boundary. If you behave towards me in a way that I find uncomfortable, I will end the interaction. Is a boundary. Don't talk to me under any circumstances is just being controlling, and for apparently no reason beyond vibes." And this is why I wanted to actually reread this one, because I didn't want to delete it completely, because I do think that it's a very important point about boundaries and boundary making. I think like I say, the internet has got everyone thinking that things are what they are not, because people who have no background in psychology and therapy and things like that start taking therapy language and twisting the narrative on it to basically then say, "You can't do anything if I don't say you can in my vicinity because that's the way this works." It's like, no. Boundaries are there for you to say, like, "I'm not comfortable with this and I will leave if this happens," which is fair. But you cannot say, "You can't talk to me ever." You can't control someone like that. If they say "Hiya" in a nice way, that's not a boundary telling them they can't nicely say hello to you when you're inevitably going to be around each other. Like, no. And then Professional Cry 7948 says, "I can't believe this wasn't the top comment. People don't understand the difference between trying to control people and having a boundary. A boundary is only ever about your own behaviour. You can't control others, only yourself. It's about what you will do if X things happens." And note, I said do, not react, not decide in the moment that your emotions override anything rational and you're going to scream or throw a tantrum. If she doesn't want him around, she can remove herself. If your parents want to see their grandchildren and she doesn't want this in her space, she can get a different space. She can move out and decide to distance herself from everyone whenever she likes. Precisely. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. Like, she's acting like she owns the place. Like, it's ridiculous. And considering no one else in the family has a problem with this guy, I feel like she's just a bit of a brat and she doesn't like that her sister's got something nice and she wants to ruin it. You know, that's my opinion. I could be wrong. That's just the way I'm reading this. Okay, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for the day. If you made it all the way to the end with me, I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, I will appreciate you even more. And that is your initiation into the Cult of Void. Welcome! Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye!